Hello again, YouTube friends. I had really planned to do some videos today because I want to get more running videos up, but I will show you why I can't. The ground's wet at the moment, and even though I waterproof my servos, I don't like to run my nitros in water because there's a possibility that even if the road is wet, it can throw water up on the air filter and subsequently get water into the motor. So I'm careful about those kind of things. So first, let's show the weather. So people will understand why I can't get the videos done today. I live 31069 Perry, Georgia. Yeah, not the greatest town, but it works. Maps. I personally don't like Weather Channel map. My radar, the app on my phone, I like a lot more, but there you can see. We already had these. It's been raining pretty decent for the past, since 3 a.m. this morning. Let me turn my watch on. And it's now 11:23, so it's been raining nonstop for a good 8 hours. And now we have this nice squall line that's coming through that has already spawned some tornadoes. So I have to make this video quick because I have a lot of stuff to charge up. I have I bought a tester. A LiPo tester like this one, but my fiance is using it right now to charge some stuff up. Hobby King offers it. You plug in your battery and then it has a USB port on the other side, so you can use your LiPos to charge anything that's USB chargeable. I absolutely love that charger because I have a buttload of LiPos, and it doesn't have to be LiPos. You can connect an RX box, like RX pack like this, and as long as it can read the voltage, you're golden. 4.52 volts. So I can use these, and it'll just, you need 5 volts for regular charging. I believe it's 7.5 for fast charging, and certain things like the PS Vita, it takes 5 volts at 1500 milliamp hours. So most chargers are like 5 volts at 500 milliamp hours. So yeah, that's why I'm not doing any videos today except the one I'm doing right now, where I'm going to show this. This is the RS4, the Nitro HPI Nitro RS4 2 that I rebuilt yesterday. I completely stripped off everything. It came with brand new rear bulkheads and front bulkheads. I completely washed everything. Honestly, if you didn't know, you probably couldn't tell that that's a 18-year-old car. It's amazing, isn't it? It is to me. I still got to clean the shocks and rebuild them. And the motor right here, which still has adequate compression to run. So there's still compression there. And all the exhaust parts and everything right here. I'm cleaning all that up with a Dremel and a wire brush. But that one is sort of dead. But one thing I want to get to is a certain someone. His name was Damon Schouw, or some crap like that. SCHOUW. It was about my Convergence VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing. And he said 50,000. In the video, I said the rotors are spinning at 50,000 RPM because I was trying to do 1450 kV times 12.6 in my head while flying a tricopter. And he says basically you can't fly. You're not supposed to fly it like a tricopter. You're supposed to take off and land in tricopter mode. That's it. Well, oh yeah, and he blamed that the problem I had, which other people have had, was my fault. Well, I think he doesn't even have one, because I've tried to actually look at his channel. Let's go to his channel. Well, I can't. I removed the comment because he basically said when I put out that kind of information and videos like this, I'm doing bad things for the hobby, and I shouldn't have the things I do. Well, I've actually spoken directly to Horizon Hobby, and they said, yes, you can fly it as a tricopter. It wasn't built for that, but yes, you can. That's why it has that mode. And you can fly it around in that mode. But, of course, it was built as an airplane, but you can fly it like a tricopter. He went on to say, I said the rotor spin at 50,000 RPM when I was trying to do that in my head. It's actually 12,000, a little over, about 12,500 at full throttle with a 12.6 volt battery fully charged. That's usually not going to happen. So usually around full throttle, you're going to be spinning about 10,000 RPM. Let's see what else he said. He also said I'm going to cut somebody with it. Actually, I've learned to fly this thing very well. And I will admit I was nervous with it because the only plane I had flown other than this was a brushed Delta Ray. I did put Extreme 180 motors in it and collets, so the push-on propellers were actually not fastened, but held on in a much more secure manner than just the plastic friction onto the metal, because as soon as you put those Extreme 180 motors, they spin faster, so you get more thrust, and the props would literally just fly right off because they couldn't. Basically, with that, you're having to deal with a friction bond, which isn't going to be all that strong. But with a collet, you're still using a friction bond, but you can actually tighten it down, which I have a video on that. That was a long time ago, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, from when I did all that. I actually traded the plane, but I'm actually getting it back, so that's pretty cool. I still have 2 Extreme 180 motors. The cool thing about those motors is they're rebuildable. So instead of having to replace the entire motor, you can just, if your commutator's messed up, you can get a brushed motor lathe. You can look those up. I don't have one. I need to get one. Because you never know. I don't like brushed motors, but I have friends that do, and if they have a problem, I can always fix it real quick. But other than that, all you need is brushes. Brushes eventually wear out. That's why I don't like brushed motors. With a brushless motor, you never have to worry about anything really running out except the bearings. The bearings will have to be replaced every now and then because, I mean, anything that has friction is going to wear out eventually. But it's people like that you're always going to have problems with. They think they know so much more than anyone else. I never claim that I know more than anyone else. I just state that I've done a lot of research. I love this hobby. I really, really love this hobby. And when I try to correct someone, I don't do it in an asshole-ish manner. I just bring up the fact, you're wrong. This is what the actual facts are, and usually if you try to correct someone, they end up getting really rude. Yeah. Part of being human. But today what I was planning on doing was, I'm going to get the videos out, my Nitro Revo, my T-Max, and I still need to tune the Savage XL, but all of them running on my new fuel. I need to get rid of that sticker. O'Donnell 30% full-on race fuel. It doesn't even have castor oil. It's full synthetic. A lot of people think that the amount of oil is what matters when you're buying fuel. The percentage. It doesn't. With nitro fuels, you have a percentage of nitromethane, then methanol. My cat's right here. And then the oil. Like with this right here, this is the O'Donnell's. It has 8%. A lot of people, even myself, I was really nervous with 8% because Traxxas uses 16%. That's double. Well, helicopters and airplanes, they use fuels that hover around 20% oil. But you have to realize with planes, helicopters, and boats as well, you're at about 100,000 RPM. No, not that, excuse me. 100% throttle about 95% of the time, especially with a helicopter. If you're in stunt mode, that thing's at least 95% throttle because the only thing creating lift is that motor and the rotors. So that's the only way. With airplanes, you can go down to like 50-60% because depending on the plane, like I will say with my Convergence, it's not nitro, but it doesn't glide at all. As soon as you let off the gas, it noses down. Well, not the gas, the throttle. It will. If you go to 0% throttle, it noses straight down, and actually the motors point up a little bit. And if you look at my other videos, when you bank, the motors actually, one will go down and one will go up. So if you want to bank right, one motor will go down, the right motor will go down, and the left motor will go up, as well as the elevons doing their thing. So you have a highly agile plane, which is what's so cool about that. But back to nitro fuel. Nitro fuel, all it has to do is survive. Let's actually show. One stroke. I'm actually going to mark it. Let's get as far to bottom dead center as we can. Okay, right there is bottom dead center. Up under a carb, you have the crankshaft right here that has a little cutout in it, and then there's a hole at the back of the crankshaft. When it opens up, the fuel goes into the crankcase. Well, that fuel has oil in it that lubricates the bearings for the crankshaft and the connecting rod bushing where the connecting rod connects to the crankshaft, and also the wrist pin at the piston and all the moving parts internally. But then it goes up into the combustion chamber. All that fuel has to do is protect the motor protect the piston and the sleeve, just that tiny little area for one revolution. So all that oil has to do is do one complete revolution, and then it's out the exhaust. That's it. You'll always have some residual oil. That's why with nitros, you always want to make sure you're blowing smoke. You don't want it to be too rich, but you also don't want it to be too lean. With lower oil percentages, your tuning window isn't as wide. If you go too lean, you're going to end up burning the motor. With, like, they have ready to run fuels, even O'Donnell does. It has 12% oil. You have a wider tuning gap. But I will say, since I've gone to 8% oil, tuning it is so much easier. It will start even with a crappy tune, and then you can go from there. You can go from default settings, like with a K5.9. Its default settings are extremely rich, but it'll get you started. Well, one thing I really did notice about this is you really have to get the engine warmed up because it bogs down a lot. Even with a leaner setting, it bogs down. Because I'm assuming probably because this has so little oil in it. Because with the T-Mac, with the Traxxas top fuel, I mean, I'll show the fuels. I'll get them out real quick. These are two fuels I have right now, but the 31st, next week I believe it is. No. What is today's date? 21st January. So 10 days, I'll be going back up to Atlanta, and I'll be getting some Byrons from Hobbytown, USA, some Morgans from Hobbytown, USA. I want to try it all. I want to try Sidewinder. I want to try Morgans. But this is what I'm using right now. But I always have some of this lying around. This stuff is really good for cleaning. I hate to say that. Traxxas fuel has served me very well for 21 months. I started with Nitro, that T-Max that I've shown. That was my very first true hobby grade car, except for the Hellion Dominus, which was $200 brushed. I ended up sinking in about another $300-400 into it. Metal parts, metal suspension, brushless system, Savlok servo. I always kept the stock receiver because I really didn't know much at that time, but that's when I really started looking around. And my next vehicle, I was like, you know what, I want to get a Nitro. I want to get something real. I want a real truck, and I wanted a monster truck. So I ended up getting the Traxxas T-Max. Yes, the Revo was out, but the T-Max is a proven design. If it wasn't so good, why has Tamiya copied it? Why has HPI copied it? Why have so many companies copied the exact same dual shock suspension setup? Because it works, and it works very well. But yeah, I really want to do some videos today, actually outside running, because that's the fun part. The fun part to me is running and completely rebuilding a chassis from a really dirty vehicle to what it is now. And even the Nitro motor. Where'd it go? I'm horrible. As soon as I put something down, I lose the damn thing. Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. It was so much dirtier than this. It had dirt caked on everywhere. I just sprayed it down with some WD-40 and started scrubbing at it. But I only had a nylon scrub brush, so I gotta go get some a brass and stainless steel scrub brush so I can really get into it, and also down between the cooling fins all the way around the motor. This is the original Nitro Star 0.15. Especially if you look at the originals that have the round head. This one doesn't have a round head. This one looks more like an airplane motor than a car motor. And it sits in the chassis sideways like this, so you don't get any torque steer. That's one thing about shaft driven cars that I don't like, is you get a lot of torque steer because of the spinning of the, not only the motor, but the shaft itself, and all that stuff causes, usually the car will go to the left. And I'm gonna completely rebuild this carburetor. If there's something wrong, I'll replace the part. But it looks pretty nice, and it even has a little clicky thing. So when you turn it, I don't know how many grooves there are on it, but you can do such minute tuning, and you can actually feel it. So that's what's on the docket today. If the weather cleans up before sunset, I'll try to get at least my my T-Max out and run it with this stuff in it, because this stuff, oh my god, it screams like a rape date. I've never heard RPM so high, but that's one thing I will say. You have to be careful with this and any Traxxas motor, because it's going to push that motor to its absolute limits. If you run it too lean, you're going to blow your motor. And I've seen it happen on YouTube several times. They run it too lean and they go for speed runs, and then all of a sudden you hear a pop and no more nitro sound. Usually the rod gets thrown because it simply can't take the reciprocal motion at 45,000 RPM. A Traxxas 3.3, I think its red line is 40,000 RPM. You go above that, you're going to start looking at damaged pistons, broken piston skirts, and then that's going to get inside and just shred the engine. And, you know, really bad thing, like with one thing I really don't like about the Savage the HPI K5.9 is the internal one-way bearing. If that bearing goes out, all those linear bearings are going to end up inside the engine, and they're going to shred it to hell. And that sucks, but it's what we got to deal with those. I have an OS 30 that I've spoken a lot about, and hell, let's get it out and show it. If I can get to my nitro box quickly. Yes, I can. These are my nitro motors with bags of other stuff. Here's some Savage 25 shocks, a belt tensioner for a HPI Pro, and here's my OS. Lovely little motor. Incredible torque. Oh my god. Here's the original HPI. The original, the case is the same. Oh well, I need that. That's going to stay out because I need that pull start to put on this motor. Well, you can see they just changed the head design to be round. It's more efficient in cooling. But I have a lot of stuff in here. I have a couple 3.3s, 3.3 heads, some Navarone pipe, some blocks. This is a Pro 0.15 block, a 2.5 block, short block that's, I can actually put a back plate on that and a head on it and a carb and it'll run. And I have all those parts. It's just, I really don't like the 2.5. It's nice, and I may even put it on something. I don't know. But yeah, that's some of my stuff that I have. But that's what I use. So I hope if you tuned into this video, I hope you liked it. I'm sorry I can't get any running videos out today, and I really didn't get a lot of information out except the O'Donnell fuel. Well, when it comes to oil, percentage of oil in nitro fuel doesn't mean a damn thing. Of course, you don't want extremely, you got to have oil in it, but it all comes down to the contents of the oil. How good is that? How strong is that oil film? Because it has to coat the piston and the sleeve long enough for one stroke. After that, it burns away. So, and you can notice Traxxas is really oily because if you run a motor with it for, say, I don't know, 20 tanks, take the back plate off, not the back plate, your starter, be it easy start, roto start, pull start, take that off and look at all that oil. It gets in the one-way bearing and it ruins it. It actually ruined the one-way bearing in my Revo 3.3. Thankfully, I have an extra one, but it's in one of these freaking boxes, so I'm gonna have to go through every one of them and completely dump it out. But at the same time, I have some more of these white. I have a wider one that I'm gonna stack this one on top of, so I can really start going through my things and separate them and organize a little better than just have it thrown in boxes. And every time I need a part that big, I have to dump the whole 40-50 gallon tote out. So that's one I wanted to point out that one dude, Damon, saying that it's probably my fault that the plane crashed. Well, no, other people have had the same issue that I had. Just review the video. Thank you for watching. I'll get some running videos out as soon as possible. So, again, thank you for watching, and remember for the giveaway, March 2nd, but it starts February 2nd. Peace.